what's up? We've started recording. This is Musicmandir Podcast number 2. I'm Akash. That's Jatin and Shravani. Hey guys, what's up?
Hi.
And we are back with improved sound technology for you guys this
Yes,
time.
at least, yeah.
Are
I mean,
we? Because I think
Kind
the
of.
listeners will be like more of a judge to that.
We're
for
trying,
sure.
guys. We're trying.
We're trying, yeah. So bear with us. So yeah, so let's just get on with it. How was
For
the
sure.
past week?
It was
Uh,
a, it was a good week. Discovered some new stuff. Heard some new songs. A lot of them not very recall worthy, but some really crazy stuff. Really cool stuff. What
okay.
about you guys?
Like
I've been doing
uh,
a lot of research.
All
So,
right.
like, my journey down that rabbit hole has started this week.
yes,
And
finally.
it's been crazy. Yeah, I don't think I've been working as much as I've been listening to things this week. It's crazy.
Okay. So I
And
think
yeah,
Shravani
so,
has more of like a research oriented like role to this podcast. I think.
oh, damn. I would love that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, because you anyways like enjoy like the aspect of
Yes.
research. Akash also enjoys it, but I think you can do a little less research because you're anyways doing a lot of other research anyways. But yeah, sorry. I
Yeah.
think like we should just get on with what Shravani was saying.
Instead of
Sorry.
no. I mean, there was a so Jatin. You wanna go because you shared like something very interesting with me, which we were talking about even before the start of this podcast. Like a very
Yeah,
interesting article you and I were discussing,
yeah,
and something really stupid, obnoxious that happened in the
yeah.
music industry. You wanna go?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so not really obnoxious, but it was basically the Spotify CEO. His name is Daniel. He basically came out with a comment or a statement. I think he was giving like a briefing, and he said that like artists need like you cannot release music once in a few years now, not once in 2 3 years, because the current environment of consumption of music, like you are required to release music far more often to be successful on the Spotify platform. So that was his statement. I'll read out like a quote which I have. But basically, that didn't go too well with all the artists, right? And there were a bunch of famous artists that basically called him like a greedy bitch or something. It's actually hilarious, right? So what the article says is Spotify CEO tells musicians to release more music if they want to survive. That's basically what he just said. And uh, and like the artists, obviously, I mean, if you consider an artist, like putting out music is not supposed to be categorized as like a business. You put out music for you know, like numerous
So,
other
yes,
factors,
yeah.
and you can't, the whole monetization of music is itself like a very sticky subject, right? Like it's not easy. I mean, I may be wrong, but Spotify has, they require you to have like close to thousands of streams for you to make like $1 or even less than $1. And it's just bias. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you compare like the really famous artists like Beyonce, and then you take an independent artist. I mean, just the economies of scale and just like basic parameters doesn't make sense. So David Crosby, right, like like a legend of an artist, he basically tweets, "You are an obnoxious, greedy little shit, Daniel Elk." it was it was hilarious, man. Then other people, Joanne Osborne says Daniel Elk has no idea what he's talking about. He's never created any music in his life and has zero rights to tell any working musician what they can or can't do. Shut the F up, asshat. I mean, people from even the Dream Theater guy, Petrucci,
Petrucci.
he, no, sorry, not Petrucci, someone else. He also commented that it just doesn't make sense, especially when when the points being made by someone who has never created music, has no kind of idea of the creative process, what goes into it. And this is
Yeah.
coming off from Daniel Elk's personal wealth close to like being 4 billion like in 2020. So it just has everything wrong going with like the whole story. But
So
I felt it like the economies of music is so complicated. I think it was a
Yeah.
really foolish thing to just like blurt out. you
Yeah.
know you can't really dictate when music comes out, man.
No,
period.
absolutely
I
not. I
mean,
mean, go for it. Go for it.
his point of view is like makes sense from a capitalistic business
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah,
thing. Because Spotify enables so many artists, like gives them a platform. But I
yeah,
mean, of course, you can't expect them to churn it out like, I don't know, like a factory, man. Like
yeah,
it's not a,
exactly, exactly. I think he
yeah.
should have just had that, that kind of understanding that, like, he's
Mm,
obviously there to run a business, and everyone gets that. Like, maybe investors need him to do certain kind
yeah.
of things, but you have to, like, at least word it a little more
Yeah,
sensibly,
exactly.
because his
Exactly.
whole, anyways, his business is on the shoulders of music and musicians. Like, Spotify is
Yeah,
nothing
absolutely.
without the music. So
Absolutely.
I just haven't been able to, like, get over this, right? Like, I sincerely think, like, there needs to be like a cleaner model, a cleaner platform for
Uh-huh.
music. I mean, see, for the consumers, it's a win-win-win-win forever, right? Like, anyone using Spotify
Yeah.
loves Spotify.
Yeah.
You have no complaints. But if you look at it from the musician's point of view, like, do they get
Hmm.
their money's worth, like, from Spotify? I think I there aren't a lot of artists that are, extremely satisfied with the amount of money they're making from Spotify. And this is in comparison with, like, other platforms like Bandcamp. Like, so even Apple Music and YouTube pays even lesser. Apple Music is also close by, Tidal Music is also close by, but I think Bandcamp as a platform is, like, the cleanest it can get, because firstly, they take, like, the least, like, royalty or revenue if you purchase someone's music. And secondly, they've been doing this cool thing, like, since the coronavirus has started, where they're not taking a commission. So, like, 100% of the money you spend to purchase an album, like, 100% goes to the artist. So it's like the most kind
Yeah.
of, it's like the most realist kind of transaction of music you can make, where you know for a fact that that entire money goes to the artist. And
Mhm.
they've been doing that since the coronavirus started, and I think it's on every Friday. So every Friday, if you purchase, like, music from an artist, like, 100% of that goes to the artist. And I just think, like, people should people should definitely support, like, their favorite artists there. And you'll also, and another thing I've noticed is it's very real. So you'll have some artists selling their albums for, like, $15 or, like, $20, $40, and then instantly, like, the quality and, like, the effort involved is definitely going to be, like, the quality is going to be superior, because that's what he's pricing his album at. It allows the artist to set price for his own music's worth, which
That
is
that.
again
Hmm.
a fair point, right? Like, if I'm spending, like, 10,000 rupees on an album, I don't want to sell it for $10 a song, right? Or, like, $40 or 150 or $200. These are what like, the digital stores will force you to price it at that.
That's an
So
interesting bit, because like when you were saying this, what I realized was that in order for somebody to keep releasing music, say every week or so, just means going away from the album model completely. I mean, that means you're incapable of making an album. That means all the marketing that
yeah,
happens and all the work that happens is the single song churn, right? and and
yeah,
and anybody who's sort of like grown up to listening to great music, I'm talking about, and I'm specifically talking about, say, non-Bollywood music, right? Like from independent artists. The music comes from great music comes from albums, and albums are meant to be heard in a particular way, like a lot of great albums,
oh
right?
yeah,
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure in your case it's Danny California, in my case it's albums like Kid A and In
yeah,
Rainbows, and all these
yeah,
albums. I mean, if I am not listening to the whole thing, the whole atmosphere, I don't know why I'm gonna even listen to it. I mean,
yeah,
you listen to these albums as pieces of art, not. I mean, imagine just Radiohead coming up with like one song, Reckoner, and
one
then
song,
yeah, every week. It doesn't sound that great to me. And maybe what he's hinting at, obviously, is that just go away from the album model and
hmm.
go to the singles model completely.
Yeah,
And most of the artists who have grown up listening to albums, one of the reasons why most of them grew
yeah,
up listening to 10 and Nevermind and all these great albums, right? They're like,
yeah,
okay, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, the whole point was just for us to make
yeah,
an album, and the whole idea of making an album is a very, very creative process, right? Like, there's a reason it takes sometimes 3 4, and in case of guys like Tool, sometimes 11 years for them to
yeah,
come out with a new
exactly.
album, like a like a 45-minute album, which is just like, which is an evolution of the artist from one place to another. And
Yeah.
these are the finer points, I think. The non-musicians, right? Like, no matter how successful as a technology company they are, they sort of miss that out completely. That's not how an artist thinks. I mean, sometimes the artist just wants to take 3 years and just come up with, like, have a Kid A, which is which is an electric guitar driven album. Not Kid A,
Yeah.
sorry. OK Computer, which is an electric guitar driven album. Take a few years
Yeah.
off, completely give up the guitars, and come back with an electronic album, which is Kid A and Amnesiac. I mean, there was
Yeah.
Radiohead's journey. If they were releasing singles, we would never really get a Kid A. We would never
Yeah.
happen.
No, I also feel like Spotify is almost like forcing the narrative, right? Like, because they're in such a dominant
Yeah.
kind of position now.
Right.
You have like Joe Rogan that's now moving to Spotify. They have all these big names, Taylor Swift signing exclusively for Spotify. All these crazy things that are happening. So they kind of feel that maybe they can, push the transition of,
Yeah.
music being looked at completely differently. Maybe they think like, they're innovating in like a new way, and that's okay. But things are already changing, right? Like, how many of us can even go through like a complete album now? Like, it's really difficult. I've noticed that myself. Like, if I just start an album, like, I'm already fidgeting like halfway through the first song if I don't like it. The second song starts like on a piano, I may skip it. Like our whole,
But
the whole
but
culture is
that is
changing
the
also.
experience, right? But that is the album experience. Like, I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
times you hear your, like, I mean, some of the great albums you hear, I mean, they have like a starting and a middle and an end and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And they do that, right? And for me, I mean, if that thing is lost, or if you at least take it away, you have to at least give the artist a choice to do that. And, like, in a fairer world, I think that would happen. But yeah, right
No,
now it's being driven by
yeah,
Spotify's of the world and everybody else.
I still think, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if the majority wants it, then they just get it, right? So I think, like, even as consumers, like, there's some kind of responsibility that you have. I think like supporting artists should just be like the most basic thing,
Absolutely.
uh,
There's also another
especially
very,
like in times like this. Yeah.
yeah, and there's also a very interesting thing that has really been seen, I think, for the first time in last 30, 35, or 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. Then uh, like, the vinyl sales actually went up, started growing instead of going down. That means a lot of people are considering the idea of having a holistic listening experience rather
Yeah.
than just streaming. Because, I mean, mind you, like, streaming, if I mean, there used to be no Jay-Z on Spotify for a long time, and now there is Jay-Z on
Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for all you know, he'll take his stuff back from Spotify, like, a year later.
They have so many of these
uh, uh,
copyright related issues also, right? Like, so
exactly. So
when
your music is
Spotify
not
launched
secure.
in India, yeah, when Spotify launched in India, they didn't have Red Hot Chili Peppers and
Exactly.
Led Zeppelin
They did not have
and a
Chili
bunch of
Peppers
these.
till 2 months ago.
Yeah, and then they got into this really huge legal battle with Hangama and things like that. At the end, it's all money, man. Like 2 or 3 months, then cut a deal, and then boom, like suddenly everything's hunky dory, like back in your streaming thing. I don't know. It's a little.
it,
I feel
that's
bad
why it
for
makes
like.
more sense to own it physically, is what I think. I mean, uh,
Mm.
I
That'll
mean,
always be, yeah, that'll
yeah, you
always
just,
be the best thing to do is to like pay the artist, like directly. I mean,
exactly.
if even nothing, like just buy like a t-shirt or a merchandise, because like that's like it's one of those things, man. It's like this capitalistic thing. At the same time, it's like the technology, the culture, everything combining. But I'm kind of glad that he made that stupid comment, so like at least people are now a little more aware of you know okay, why did he say that, and why are so
Yeah.
many artists pissed off, like.
Yeah.
So that was something that I'm trying to do like more understanding into it, because it's always intrigued me. So the Spotify thing is definitely something. So I'm looking at uh, uh, yeah, I saw like this YouTube video about how you can download like an illegal Spotify APK file and get like premium for free.
Yeah.
I'll probably put that in the description if
Ping.
I find it. But
Yeah,
I'm
ping me after
actually,
this podcast. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm actually like I'm actually looking. I'm in the dark levels of the internet to find that, which will be like my ultimate tribute to like Daniel Elk. of Spotify. So in case you're watching, like I might be getting Spotify Premium very soon.
Lovely. I'm not paying for that stuff. Yeah. I'm
Yeah, I
definitely
think
not paying
there
for it.
needs to be like a movement. There needs to be like a little rebel, like the protesters who don't know what they're fighting for, sort of kind of group that goes like, "Hey, you know what? I'm not paying for Spotify. Like
Yeah,
I
like
love music,
Napster
but
2.0. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't want to pay Spotify. Like, I still want to listen to music. It's like
I
that confused group of like protesters, like who not there completely, but they just don't want to sit at home. So they just like, yo,
They have a lot
I
of time
mean,
on their
like,
hands. Yeah.
yeah.
Fuck. What's up with you, Shravani? What have you been listening to?
So, talking about copyright, I think this week has been full of copyright issues. so,
Yeah.
so like I have been listening to a lot of stuff, and I realized that I am being a dancer, I'm attracted to music that uh, accents dancing.
Mm.
Music that you can dance on. And I mean, does not matter, like you can dance on a lot of kinds of music, but what you're looking for is some character and flavor that you can
Yeah.
enhance with choreography. So one thing I found out was that when these choreographers put up music videos and doing cover choreography, not like original stuff, but there are a lot
Right.
of dancers who are choreographers, right? And
Right.
we need music to choreograph on, right?
Right.
And not everybody has the resources to create their own music. And if there
Yeah.
is such amazing music existing, why not add another layer of amazingness to it with choreography? But what
Mm.
happens is, like when you're posting stuff with choreography, there are a lot of copyright problems, in the sense that even if you are crediting the music to labels and artists, it's
Mm.
likely that you're gonna get blocked. Your video is gonna get put down, and I think it's
Right.
happened to you as well, right, Akash? You were just telling me that this is the common
A
thing
lot
that
of
happens.
times. Yes.
So I dug a little, yeah. So I dug a little deeper into this whole thing, okay? And apparently there is a algorithm that YouTube and all platforms have.
Yeah.
It's called content ID. So what
Right.
it does is, it's a pretty intricate program. Very interesting how they've made it also. What it does is, any video that is posted or any audio that is posted, it will run through a database. It will match audio, video, like separately to its database. Also melodies, not just like audio that has been recorded, but also if you're copying melodies, okay? Which is like,
Okay.
and it will just flag your thing without any human intervention. So there's no concept of fair use of music, or you're
Right.
creating something using something else, right? So that's missing, and I think that's a problem, especially for choreographers and dancers.
Yeah.
uh, so one thing that's a solution to this whole problem is that I found out that there are a lot of interesting music pieces on SoundCloud that,
Mm.
so originally my perception was that SoundCloud is for musicians and people who
Mm.
create and love music. That's it. But there's another dimension to this whole SoundCloud community, if you will,
Mm.
that even dancers and choreographers can go to this place and find really amazing pieces.
Okay.
Some of them are so interesting you can't even find them in like a normal public domain. I mean,
Right.
other places. They have a
Yeah.
lot of characters. Their remixes, they could also be original music pieces, and
Mm.
and they have a lot more character and flavor, which I think is really adds to choreography quality. And in general your expression gets a lot of layers.
Right.
So one very interesting artist that I came across this week, his name is Rojo or Jojo.
Mojo
I'm
Jojo.
Mojo
confused, but that
Mojo
we'll
Jojo
find.
is the
Yeah,
guy
Mojo
from
Jojo
Mojo
from
Rojo is
Pow-
Powerpuff
from.
Girls.
Yeah,
Powerpuff
yeah, yeah,
Girls. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mojo
That's
Mojo
and I
that's
Rojo
love the
is.
name.
that's Mojo Jojo Jojo. right? Like, and then
Yeah.
there's the Mojo Rojo, who's
Which is
from
Rohan Joshi.
AIB,
Yeah,
Rohan Joshi.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Mr.
So,
Joshi,
talking
like
about the music.
in case you're watching this, do let us know if you're the same Mojo
No, no,
Rojo
no.
on
They're not. They're
Same
SoundCloud.
not.
guy.
It's Mojo
So I
Jojo.
think we should hear
Yeah.
it from him.
So we'll probably link it in the description,
Yes.
like
Yeah,
if
for
we
sure.
find the right Mojo
Yes.
Jojo.
And
So
guys, this
okay, yeah,
his
sorry. Go
music
ahead, go
is
ahead, go ahead.
sorry. You want to talk?
No, no, go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. So his music is like really fused, and it has a lot of Rajasthani folk flavor
Right.
and with electronic trap kind of a vibe. And
Okay.
it's so trap is not something I genuinely enjoy normally, but
Right.
this whole fusion is really crazy. And I felt like dancing. I was dancing on it this
Yeah.
whole week, by the way. But there's
So
this
does it have
one.
like Indian influences or something, or no? It's
Definitely.
completely dance
No,
music.
definitely. So what
Oh,
he did
cool.
is when he was in Rajasthan, he sampled a lot of folk music there, and
Okay.
he's used a lot of it in his songs. And it definitely has like a very rooted earthy Rajasthani flavor to it. It's
Okay.
amazing. It's
Awesome.
amazing.
Awesome.
And
I
one
will.
of his songs is
We'll try to get
Dillagi.
him on Music Mandir also if possible.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
Let's do that.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
ask him. I can ask him because I think I have some friends.
Wait, do you know him?
I don't know him. I have my colleagues and my friends who are also friends with him, I think.
Oh,
So that
nice.
Then
way I can obviously, and his music is lovely. So
yeah.
and yeah, and talking about the Rajasthani music, right? I was in
Yeah.
Jodhpur a while ago, and
Right.
while ago in the sense when I say it was like just before Corona hit us, like
Pre-COVID, yeah.
yeah,
That's like 6 months ago, I think.
a week before COVID hit everybody. I was
COVID
in
time.
yeah,
Right. Right.
I was in
Yeah.
I was in Jodhpur, and I could hear I could hear like these guys singing on like some like a couple of blocks away or something. दूसरी गली से
Okay.
आवाज आ रही थी, and I was like,
Okay.
ये कौन है जो मतलब ऐसे गा रहा है? And the guy I was staying with, like the guest room I was staying with, he's like, these are the Magniyars, and
Oh,
Magniyars are this like this community of people who come from Barmer.
right.
And Barmer is like a town between, I think, Jodhpur and Jaisalmer. So like uh, one of those towns which is like in the middle of nowhere in the desert.
Okay. Okay.
And Magniyas are essentially like the singing caste or the singing community. And these guys, and
Wow.
what we realized was that these guys who were singing, whose voice we were hearing, they were not singing on the mics. They were just
Wow.
singing
So it's
without,
without
yeah,
a
yeah,
mic.
without that stuff. So they got loud voices,
Yeah.
and the women are usually dancing and the men are usually singing. I would highly recommend anybody who's listening to this to go and check out this documentary, maybe buy it, by Paul Thomas Anderson, called Junoon. It features
We'll link it. We'll again
yeah,
link it.
we'll link it. It's available. It's still streaming on Mubi right now. It features the Magniyars of Barmer, along with the Kavals and the brass bands of Jaipur. And like these guys, they brought all of them together. And there's this
Wow.
Israeli who's living in India since I think the 90s, I think late 90s. His name is Shai Ben Zur. And Shai Ben Zur
Okay.
basically now sings in Hindi and in Hebrew, obviously. And he makes the Kavals and the Magniyars sing in Hebrew, a language that they do not
Wow.
understand. And these guys,
Isn't this the same documentary where the
Johnny
guitarist from
Greenwood,
Radiohead?
yes,
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah, yeah.
Greenwood was a part of
He.
this documentary.
Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet.
And but his role obviously is pretty limited in the whole thing, right?
Mm,
He's just more, he
mm.
comes more off as like an instrumentalist in the whole thing, and who's like an
Yeah, yeah,
enabler, obviously, because he has the money on this. But like, it's Shai
yeah,
Ben Zur who's actually doing most of the work, because all of those compositions are his,
yeah.
and those compositions have been made like some of them are I won't even say compositions, I would say arrangements, because some of the songs are from the 16th and the 17th century in the album, right? Yeah,
What?
there is Meera ka
Wow.
bhajan and stuff like that. So
That's
what these guys
insane.
did is basically they put their resources together and they took it to the world. But
Right.
the larger point that I was trying to say is that the Rajasthani music by itself is like within that one region,
Yeah.
they have a crazy assortment of people, right? There are the kavals, and there are brass bands,
Yeah.
and there are magniyas, and some of them are singing in the temples, some of them are singing in the dargahs, in the Ajmer
Yeah.
Sharif and all these places. And if you go to places like Pushkar, you'd actually see them practicing on the ghats almost every evening. So one of the great drummers of
Wow.
India, the Nagada players of India, Nathulal Solanki, who also happens to be in this movie, who also happens to be in some Coke Studio episodes, like a genius of a guy. You can just find him
Hmm.
sitting and chilling on the ghat on in Pushkar every evening. I mean, if he's not touring the world and he's just playing there,
Yeah.
and
Dude,
he's just like
that's
a.
insane.
It is insane. Rajasthan is one of the most insane places in the country. I am not even.
So it's possible that Rajasthan is like the culturally the one of the richest, like having the richest traditions of music,
I'm sure
like
we have very
like in
rich
India.
traditions. Yeah, we have rich traditions all across the country. Like very
Yeah,
good. I mean,
almost like every
Karnataka.
state,
Yeah, yeah.
every state.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
Carnatic music is like one of the richest traditions in the world, right?
True,
And
true.
and Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh have their own gharanas, which have produced some of the finest people around. But
Yeah,
Rajasthan is like still doing it aggressively, and you don't really need to be some sort of like a music connoisseur, so to speak, to understand the music. The music by itself
right.
is so freaking vibrant. And I mean,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can just go on about Rajasthan because that's how much I love that place. But
That's amazing.
since
Maybe
you
we need to
brought.
have like another like episode of only
Absolutely.
Akash, like
Yeah.
kind of educating us on
I
Rajasthan.
don't know too much myself, but I okay. I would anybody who's listening to this, I'm gonna link a video. Just
Yeah, yeah.
check out this song
We
called
link we link
Shoshan.
everything.
Yeah, there's a song called
No, we link
Shoshan.
everything. We link everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so people can have their own exploration and discovery.
Yes. So
But that
check
was
out the song
awesome.
called
Yeah.
Shoshan by Shai Benzur and the Kawal brothers it's shot in Jaipur. It's produced in Jaipur. It's
Hmm.
beautifully done. So that's there. And
Superb.
going a bit further from Rajasthan, like this week, I was actually listening to this guy called Abdullah Siddiqui, who's not from India. He's from Lahore, Pakistan. A
Okay.
fantastic singer songwriter. I discovered Abdullah Siddiqui sometime last year.
Hmm.
He's an electronic producer, and he comes and again I know you shouldn't really judge somebody by how they look, but he doesn't look like a singer songwriter. He'll come with his shirt buttoned up and all, and you'll be like,
Right.
okay, this guy is like he's preparing for whatever the Pakistan equivalent of IIT is. Okay,
Right.
he's preparing for those examinations. Okay, he's got specs
Yeah.
on, and then he just starts on his DAW on his iPad, and he just starts like putting the beats together.
Right.
And before you know it, he's singing like somewhere between John Mayer and James Blake, and
Okay.
and he's just creating this track, and it's beautiful. So the first song I heard by him was called Fiction, which
Okay.
was where he was just sitting in a room and playing, and I was just blown away by how good his voice was.
Right.
And last week, I think, yeah, last week he came out with another song called Come Through. Again, a
Right.
very brilliantly arranged song, which starts off with like some reversal of tapes, basically. Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, when you're
Hmm.
playing something and you play it backwards, and how it
Okay.
sounds, that sort of,
Right. Yeah.
Rewind.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So the song starts off like that. It's choppy like that, and he starts singing on that, and
Hmm.
eventually it sort of builds up and builds up and builds up, and it's half English, half Urdu, and very
Wow.
pop. And it reminds me of that song by James Blake, Retrograde. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Ah.
Retrograde.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Of
so it,
course.
it reminds me of that, like slowly building up and into a crescendo.
Right. Right.
But it's just, for me, the way I look at it, this guy has got like a better voice than a lot of singer songwriters that you would see otherwise. So,
Okay.
and that just totally caught my fancy. And for some reason,
Pretty cool.
while I was listening to him, I also got introduced to another band called Teen from same Lahore,
Hmm.
the same circle,
Hmm.
I think. And Teen has got this song which came out, I think, a few months back. It's not a new song. It's slightly old, but it's a song well worth anybody's time. It's called Ja Ba Ja.
Hmm.
And like
So
they, huh,
coincidentally, like Music Mandir also, did like a piece on the band theme, and I love the fact that it's like the name of the band is like T
Ah,
and then
E
E
E
three
E.
times,
Yeah,
and then N. So like
yeah.
teen, because like whatever, like that was smart. So Music Mandir actually, like kind of we got introduced to their lead singer called Sara Haider, and she's like a really famous singer, I think from Lahore, Pakistan. And she did a bunch of campaigns. She did one for like Levi's, and she's just this really cool singer. And she of course sings in Hindi, but she also has like this whole
You
English
mean
side
you,
of it.
you
Like
mean
she,
Urdu?
no, not I haven't heard her singing in Urdu, but so she covered like these old blues classic songs, so there are very few people who go that vibe. She covered the song by called Fever, and so that's how we started listening to her music, and we did like a little post, and then she came to Coke Studio and she did a bunch of songs, and then we discovered that she's also part of a band called Teen, which has this really mellow, chilled out, songs. And then we got in touch with the guitarist from Teen, and then we did a little question answer thing, and he was very nice to like talk to us. Uh, so yeah, very cool band. And then their second single was the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
Jaba Ja. But yeah, very interesting stuff. Good music.
And they are like, again, they're not very active, right? Like they just like
Yeah,
go and then they'll make their stuff and they'll come back, and that sort of comes back to your point about the Spotify thing, right? I mean, if I'm
yeah,
waiting for 6 months and getting a song like that, I'm okay with that, man. I don't want like trash to
yeah.
be served every week just
Yeah.
because
Exactly,
you're churning out
exactly.
content, right? You don't
Yeah,
want that stuff
yeah.
to happen.
It shouldn't be. It's not meant to be like that. Like at least music shouldn't be that way. It beats the whole purpose of making meaningful, good music.
Yeah, man. My favorite singer songwriter hasn't come out with an album in last 15 years. That's saying something. She keeps coming up with like singles once every 4 years, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
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 like her last album was in 2005, so that's
yeah.
been a while.
But speaking of
Who is
artists
this?
from,
Who is this?
This a band. This is a band. I just want to like do a whole section on this. It's I think I've bombarded Jatin with her music.
yeah,
It's a band called
yeah,
Universal Hall Pass, and
Okay.
I mean it's not a band. It's like one person called Melissa R. Kaplan, and she does her own music out of her own house under the name Universal Hall Pass. Before that, for about 6 or 7 years, she used to sing with a band called Splashdown, and Splashdown is my favorite band of all time in general because they are like the greatest band people have never heard of. And again, it's
hmm.
like another. I bombarded
Yeah. I
Jatin with
think
their
it's
music.
it's a
Yeah,
complete episode actually, like
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
Akash can
yeah.
again take us
Just
through everything
yeah,
about
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But
I will stay away from that today. Yeah.
yeah, but speaking of like Pakistani artists, since we were just talking about few of them, there's another very cool artist called Natasha Noorani. Again, I discovered her music just randomly. I think it was very close to after I had heard Teen, and she's another artist from Lahore who was studying music production, like I think in London. And I reached out to her again through Music Mandir, and we spoke, and she just released like an EP, and again just interesting sounds, right? Like she again dabbled with electronic music and poetry and uh, I don't know, themes of the EP, and we link it again in the description. And it was fun listening to artists really exploring a lot of cultural influences also, and then mixing it with modern influences like
Uh,
like hip hop and beats, and it's very cool. And
Pakistan has
like a
always done
fun
that.
and a fun side story is I so Natasha Noorani is like one half of another kind of band. I have to recommend everyone to watch it. So the band's called Biryani Brothers, and it's these two girls, right? Natasha
Yummy.
Noorani. Have you heard it?
No, no, I will.
Yeah, exactly. So it's called Biryani Brothers, and I think they've come up with just one track, but again, it's just so refreshing to see it. And they did like a nice music video. It's like it's got this whole retro vintage look, and it's got both of them. It seems completely like those videos that seem like it was shot like at home really casually, but actually there's like a lot of effort that goes behind the scene to make it
Uh-huh.
aesthetically look that way. And it's just such a fun video to watch it. Like I was so happy. Like I saw the video, the music's good, the music video is good, like the theme is good, everything was like perfect. And I was talking to her and I was like, listen, we have to do one thing with like Biryani Brothers also. Like it would be amazing if we could, but that didn't work out. But so that is also something to check out. So definitely check out Natasha Nurani, check out Biryani Brothers, check out Teen, check out the artist Akash mentioned. We link as much as we can in the
Abdullah
description.
Siddiqui, yeah.
Abdullah Siddiqui for sure. Yeah.
Freaking awesome
So that's
guy,
what.
yeah.
That's that. I think that was what
This week was all
genuinely
about.
we did this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that
I wouldn't
wanna add?
want to. No. I would do other episodes just on
I
Splashdown
think
and
we
Universal
have
Hall
a
Pass.
lot of information
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah.
So I think the second episode was like we were more like prepared, and I think
Yeah.
we did our homework.
We knew what we were going to talk about rather than just
Yeah.
going on a rant with Free Britney.
Yeah. But I think this was good. So this is what, August 8th, August 9th, 2020.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Coronavirus is still raging the country.
The world.
So be careful. The world, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, people are getting cured in the world. Like people in the country are not really getting that
I think
cured.
things are
Oh.
getting better
Worse.
slowly.
We don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope to go back to the gigs as soon as this opens up.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I am just like missing NS7 weekender already this year. I'm just, and
So
that's just one of
everything's
the things.
postponed, right? Like speaking of festivals, usually August is the time when a lot of lineup announcements and festivals get announced all across India. I think this time this
Not
Are
This
they
is
doing something virtual?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, people might try, but we don't know for sure. I mean, it's not the same as just being there.
Of course not.
Yeah,
Of course
I mean,
not.
virtuals. Yeah,
Yeah, like
Of
high
course.
out of your
Virtual sucks.
yeah, and just, like, looking at like, oh my god, I love this song.
Looking at your own face. Yeah.
Or just calling your friend in the middle of NS7, dude, where are you, dude? Like, which dude? I'm there on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
like,
cannot see you, man.
I think like no concert is like a concert, like unless you lose your friends or
Yeah, for
or
sure.
lose something.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Dude, I
It just
cannot
doesn't
see you.
feel right.
Dude, you have to see me. Like, I'm wearing the black t-shirt. I'm like, dude, this is
Yeah,
IROC.
Like, you
Everybody's
can't be
wearing a black
safe.
t-shirt.
yeah. Like you can't be safe during a live performance. Is all I'm saying. Like in a virtual
Yeah.
concert, like you're safe.
You're tucked in
But-
your bed, you're drinking hot chocolate
Yeah.
and you're listening to Bhayanak Moth. I mean, that doesn't add up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to be in a place where someone runs into you,
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
pickpockets you, and then
Or,
then you
bro,
become friends with
bro,
them at the end
Bro,
of the
mosh pit
concert.
ho raha hai, bro. Nikal idhar se,
Yeah.
nikal.
Yeah. So hoping for that soon, like as soon as possible.
All right. Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you, people, once again.
That's the end of episode 2.
That's the end
You
of
guys
episode
next
2.
week.
Next week,
The
people
next week,
like
yeah.
and
See you
subscribe.
next week.
Like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. This is a mandatory end of the episode announcement. We are called
Yeah,
Musicmandir.
yeah.
This was episode number 2. Let us know in the comments if you're listening. What did you think about this? What would you want us to cover more? And please share it with your friends and subscribe to Musicmandir. Bye bye.
And
It's a bye from us.
it's a bye. Yeah.
It's a bye.
See you.
Bye.
Be safe.